Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired his Minister of Defense, Yoav Gallant, in early November. The move means there's no real opposition left to Netanyahu in the governing coalition, leaving many Israeli citizens to wonder when the wars in Gaza and Lebanon will end. Avi Melamed is a former Israeli intelligence officer and hostage negotiator. He's an author now, and I've spoken to him several times over the course of the war in Gaza. He correctly predicted some of the actions taken by the Israeli military, including the measured responses to Iran's 2 missile attacks. Concerning Gallant's firing, Melamed says it didn't really surprise anyone in Israel.
I think that they both understood that they forced the cooperation to a large extent has come to an end. And they have different political agendas. So Netanyahu fired Gallant, and I think that Gallant basically, from a political perspective, kind of like gain credibility or credits in Israeli public opinion. He comes across as one that actually puts the best of the nation above any other calculation.
There is growing sentiment in Israel Netanyahu is keeping the wars going for political reasons, like he wants to avoid an election that might see him replaced. Others say the prime minister wants to keep the focus on war fighting and not how the war started.
That criticism is not new. It's coming from different circles, not only the public realm, of course, but it comes from circles that were involved or are involved in the negotiations, particularly the security and intelligence establishment that openly stated that more than once there could be a window for a deal for releasing hostages, and Netanyahu was actually damaging or sabotaging or stopping the process. Depends who defines what. It seems like, all in all, when you hear all these voices, it seems like that those allegations are not baseless.
According to The Guardian, after being sacked by Netanyahu, Gallant told some of the families of hostages still being held in Gaza there was nothing left for the IDF to do, that from a military perspective, its mission was over, and it's now inappropriate for Israel to still have troops there. And militarily, Melamed would tend to agree with Gallant. Hamas is significantly weakened and can't dictate any sort of agenda. Not like it was able to the last 40 years, and certainly not like it was able to on October 7th.
But again, if you are going from a political perspective, those, and particularly I'm talking about right-wing, ultranationalist right-wing in the government obviously would like to see the continuation of the war because they are dreaming of the day they will be able to re-establish Israeli settlements. Netanyahu, from a political perspective, has an interest in endurance of the war as of now, until some new circumstances will arise where Netanyahu will decide that now it's time to announce a triumph, ultimate triumph, an ultimate victory.
But will the far right's move be embraced by Israel's allies, specifically the United States? Israel's finance minister did say now that President-elect Trump is set to take the White House again, Israel should look to extend its sovereignty to the West Bank. And there are growing calls in Israel's far right to annex the Gaza Strip as well. Melamed says there's reason to believe, however, a second Trump term won't be a carbon copy of the first.
Because it's about Trump's legacy. And I think that the right-wing leader in Israel should listen very carefully to what he said this time. He said, I'm not going to start wars, I'm going to end wars. Which is a very strong message. It didn't come from Trump in the previous time. And so I would definitely expect that his policy vis-a-vis the whole issue will be much more balanced, including veto on any idea of Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank, in the areas that are clearly not supposed to be under any kind of right Israeli sovereignty.
For more from Melamed and our previous conversations, be sure to check out san.com. But when it comes to President-elect Trump, Melamed says he'll likely want an extension of the Abraham Accords, with more nations normalizing relations with Israel, and a distinct focus on Saudi Arabia. But there again, the Saudis won't come to the negotiating table while the war in Gaza is ongoing. So while Israel and its government may be readying for a return to the right in the U.S., Jerusalem probably should not expect a blank check or free pass from President-elect Trump.